Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Conroy,
And I'm Vinnie.
and this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, the largest statewide business association in the country. We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out if you need some updated coverage.
Awesome. Just a housekeeping matter or two before we get this train rolling. This podcast is available just about anywhere you can get a podcast. That's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon's TuneIn. We even throw these things up on YouTube if you'd rather watch than listen. But no matter how you check the show out, give it some love. Give it that like, give it that comment, give it that 5-star review on iTunes. Get the logo of the show tattooed on the small of your back. You will not regret it, I promise. But with all of that out of the way, our awesome guest today, hold on. Kate, what's going on today?
I know, surprise! The guest today is us. We are the guests. Yeah, because it's springtime here in New Jersey. Memorial Day weekend is coming up. People are busy. I kept striking out trying to find somebody to make time for us. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I just kept, and there were a lot of regretful people who were like, I just can't, the meetings, the this, the that. And it occurred to me that it's been a very long time since we did a, like, what do we do episode?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, other people's business versus our business. So
I
thought,
it's been 107 episodes and we've never done a show of just the two of us. So it's worth a shot. You know?
Is that true?
It might be 108. I can't remember exactly, but it's one of those two. So there you go.
That is insane. I can't believe it. We've never done an episode just the two of us. Wow.
Sorry. Yes, this is 108. Yeah.
Okay. Dang, 108 episodes.
For posterity. Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So anyway, I thought today we would just do the show, basically the same format, but instead of asking a guest, so what do you do? We would ask ourselves, so what do you do?
So what do I do?
What do you do? But wait. We need the icebreaker first. Although I've known you, how long have we known each other, Vinnie? I've been with BIA 7 years.
I think 7 years. We actually met. I don't know if I would say met. Used to go to a lot of BIA events before you came to BIA, and I would always have to do like stupid stuff, like take pictures of stuff. So I would always be like that person, like telling you, no, a little to the left, like.
I love how you just describe what you used to do as stupid. It wasn't stupid. You didn't do stupid
That was
stuff.
not my job. That was like something they would pull me aside during random events and be like, hey, can you take pictures? And I'd be like, I'm not a professional photographer. Okay. So.
That's true. You did step in a lot. You're a very good egg. All right. So we've known each other at least 7 years. The ice is broken, I would venture to guess. However, I gotta be honest that I don't want to say my favorite part of every episode, but it's way up there, is talking about what we're watching.
Kate really only hosts a podcast so she can talk about television. All of this business, and BIA stuff, it's really secondary to her need to talk about television.
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't actually need to talk about television in public. You and I could just do that, whenever. Yeah. But I just think it's entertaining, and I think that you actually have really good recommendations for people. So I feel like I'm doing a public service.
Today is not going to be that day.
Oh, really? Come on. Well, what are you binging?
All right, so my daughter is super into this show called Is It Cake? I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix. If you haven't seen the show, basically it's this cooking show, and they have these people make photorealistic cakes. So like you would pick something like, oh, here's this phone, and now somebody has to make a phone out of cake. And then like they would line up 10 phones and maybe one of them is cake, and the contestants have to figure out which one is cake. And so you'd be like, I think it's number 3. And they'd be like, is it number 3? And they cut into it, and it doesn't cut because you can't cut into a phone. And they're like, nope, not that one. And then they would cut into another one, and it would cut open and it'd be cake. And my daughter will go, oh, cake.
I feel like I really need to track this show down. What channel is it on? What platform?
Netflix. It's a Netflix original game show. I don't know if I would call it a game show. It's like, it's one of those things that they would do on the Food Network, but it's just weird.
It's totally weird, but it also sounds like completely amazing.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Is It Cake? It can't get much more complicated than that.
You know what? I was imagining the name of it to be That's Not Cake, which
That probably would have been right up there. Like, if they were in a brainstorming meeting, that would have probably been a better one. But I don't know.
we could
Yeah,
totally make a living in some writer's room somewhere, right?
yeah, just coming up with stupid ideas for Netflix original shows, right? I'm
If
sure
only,
that this will spawn a whole spin-off of, copycat shows where people will try to make. I don't even know what else you could try to do out of cake. They come up with all kinds of things. They'll have like Gucci bags and up there, and you'll cut into the Gucci bag, and oh, watch out, it's a chocolate cake.
oh
So,
my God. I mean, I have been watching these cooking shows for years, and Cake Boss is one of the most famous
yeah,
examples of this. Like, he can make
yeah,
cake look like anything. Like, those guys are
yeah.
artists. The cake isn't super delicious. I will be honest with you there, because I've had some of that cake and it's beautiful.
I've
Not
heard that
delicious.
fondant. I don't know that I've ever eaten fondant, but it's just basically like what, hardened sugar or something that
Yeah,
you just,
it's
yeah, no,
fine.
no.
It's
I've
fine.
heard that it's not that tasty, but oh,
It's fine. It's not great. Anyway,
yeah.
that's amazing. Is it cake?
Is it cake?
That's amazing. I gotta
So
check
we've
that out.
watched a bunch of those, and that somehow you would think that it would lose its luster after a while, but every time they cut into one of these things, my daughter just loses her mind. It's like, it's cake. Did you see that coming? And I'll be like, yeah, I saw that coming, to be honest with you. They only had an hour to make the thing.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Some of them
I
are really good. I'll give them that, Yeah.
I want to see that video. I need you to video that the next time it happens, because
Film her doing it.
yeah, I think that would be amazing.
If I can get a good enough one, maybe I'll drop it in the show. But
I
the
can't
probably as soon as I pull out the camera, she'll be like, "Do we watch that show? I don't know what you're talking about."
I know, right? It's like
How
pets.
about
My cats will do the cutest thing, and as soon as I get the camera out, they start licking themselves, and I'm like, that's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted
they're
from you.
probably like, "That's what the audience wants." Facebook would be infinitely better if there were just more photos of cats licking themselves.
I will say that I did an Instagram carousel once of my little guy. It was like 5 or 6 pictures of him going to town on himself. And that has been the most liked Instagram post I think I've ever done.
Of course, naturally. It doesn't matter like how great of a life achievement you can get. It's like get married, buy a house, whatever you post. The cat licking itself will always get more likes. I promise.
Yeah, that's just life.
Yeah. So what have you been watching?
So I discovered this TV show called Undone, and it's a time travel show, so I think you might like it.
Sounds
It's
right on my
half,
alley, yeah.
it does, right? So it's half animated, and it's about this girl who lives in Texas with her sister and her mom. They're like grown-ish adults. The dad died a long time ago, and she's in a really bad car accident, and her father visits her because the car accident kind of jars something in her brain, and he's like, "Listen, I've been hovering, trying to reach you. You have a gift. I need to teach you how to time travel so that you can go back in time and save me so that I'm not in the accident that kills me." And at first she's like, okay, clearly I'm psychotic now, right? Like this is not a thing, obviously. Um, but the end of the first season, something really, really big happens. I don't wanna spoil it, but
Okay.
even though it's animated, real
I was
people,
gonna ask, you said half anime. Is that like Roger Rabbit kind of a thing? Like there's like
no, it's all animated, but the actors are real people. So like Angelique Cabral is in it, and David Diggs is in it, and Angela Lopez, I think her name is, plays the mom. Um, uh, Saul Goodman, I almost said. Bob Odenkirk plays the
yeah.
dad. So
So
they
what did they like
animate.
mocap themselves?
I don't know the technology. I don't understand it myself, but the actor that you know is animated, but all of their facial expressions are right there, all of the eye movements. It looks like you're looking at Bob Odenkirk. It's
Okay.
incredible. And
Hmm.
the cool thing about the fact that they're animated is that when they go back in time, it's Bob Odenkirk's face and voice, but they've clearly made him younger. But
Okay.
they didn't have to do anything with like makeup and stuff, because it's
Right.
animated.
Okay. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
probably looks a lot more natural than say like when Disney does it in Star Wars. So
Just to pick a random name out of the
Just
air.
to pick a random, like Disney's the only one doing the de-aging stuff these days, between the Marvel stuff and the what do you call it, the Star Wars stuff. So yeah.
I'm telling you, when you sent me that clip, I think it was of Princess Leia, I was like, what in
Yeah.
God's green earth am I looking at?
Yeah,
You,
so
oh,
Rogue One, we're gonna give away the
yeah.
end of Rogue One here, but
Yeah.
you know the ending of Rogue One going into Rogue One, because the ending of Rogue One is the beginning of Star Wars. But
Thank you.
anyway, Princess Leia is there, and it's Carrie Fisher de-aged to however old she would have been at the time.
20, I think.
And I sitting in the theater and even watching it now, I don't have like great criticisms of that. It was fine.
Yeah.
But people on YouTube took it and made it significantly better. And I think that is that what I sent you? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yes.
So like, I think that when you are Disney with Disney's budget and you do one thing, and then, random person at home on YouTube significantly improves upon it, it's time to take pause and ask yourself what you're doing with all of the money that, these
Yeah.
movies cost to make.
Yeah.
So,
When you've been outplayed by John Q. Driveway,
exactly.
you gotta reassess. You
Yeah.
gotta start to think. Anyway, so Vin, since the last time we did a What Do We Do episode,
You know
you
how
have
long it's been since we did a What Do We Do? I think Daniela was the one that interviewed the two of us.
oh, that
We should
might
have invited
be.
Daniela Velez back to do it now.
How did we miss
We
that
should stop the
opportunity?
recording cold and call her up and be like, "Are you free?"
Cut. No, just
Yeah.
kidding. We're not gonna cut. Shout out to Daniela, who's graduating college this spring. We're so proud of her.
This week, like when
This
we're
week?
recording this, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, is it this week?
It actually already happened. But
Yeah,
yeah.
by the time this video comes out, it will have already happened. Our little wolf. What do we call ourselves? The wolf pack.
Daniela named us that, yes, yeah.
Yeah, the wolf pack. Our little cub is all growing up.
I always voted for the kitty litter because I thought that would be so much funnier. But, yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So anyway, since we last did our last What Do We Do episode, you have kind of a whole new job at BIA.
I guess I
Um,
do.
and I just want to like pause and give you props because you basically write, direct, produce a TV show
Yeah.
every
No,
week.
wait. I don't write it. Bob Considine writes
Oh,
the show. I'm not going to take.
pardon me.
I have so many jobs on that show. I don't need to take credit for the ones that I don't do.
I
But
apologize. Shout out to Bob. Shout out to
yeah.
Bob.
Bob
He's a good
Considine. Yeah.
Bob Considine. But you produce a TV show every week
Yeah. Yeah.
from
In addition to
scratch.
this podcast. So, we have a
Yeah,
whole lineup at BIA.
I
It's like
know,
our
right?
own little version of TGIF, only for the business community. If you didn't see our episode with Bob Considine, I want to say it was like a few episodes ago now. I
Yeah.
don't remember what number, but yeah, BIA. I want to say we were supposed to start it. I want to say April 2020, and then you
Yeah.
know how just about everything like that went. The pandemic hit and we delayed it, but we do a weekly television show about the New Jersey business community. It's we do usually it's half interview with a business owner or a business representative about what they're going through, their struggles with COVID, or just in general the kinds of issues they're facing. And then we also will usually have a member of our government affairs team on to talk about what's going on in Trenton and how it affects business and everything, keep you up to date. So you get some of that newsy kind of element with the government affairs people, but you also get that featurey element with a member of the business community. And I think it's cool. It's a different vibe from this show, but Kate and I both work on the other show too. Like she said, I edit, produce, direct, film, the whole nine. Kate actually is a correspondent. She kind of fills you in on what's going on with BIA and our events, and she is the voice in the beginning of every episode that tells you who our sponsors are. So thank you so much to Kate for helping us out with that.
Oh my God, please, it's my
Yeah.
pleasure. It's so fun. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get my SAG card out of this, I think.
Yeah, actually, as of the time we're filming this might actually go up the same week. Kate is the guest on the show that will air like adjacent to this episode of this podcast, because she just filmed an interview about her own business, Blue Feather Consulting.
Yeah, that's right. That's so funny. It did not occur to me that these would kind of come out at the same time. But that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So how about you? What are you doing?
What do I do? So we reorged just a teensy bit during the pandemic, as I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody can understand and relate to. A lot of people, a lot of places reorged.
Thank you for not using
Um,
the P word.
I cannot use that word ever again. It's lost all meaning because when I think about the P word, I can't even visualize what it meant before the pandemic. I just,
It didn't exist.
yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I used to help members figure out how best to spend their marketing dollars when they were ready to start like sponsoring events and doing speaking opportunities and getting just more visibility within the membership. And I still do that, but now I also manage the events department. And so the two marry very well, although there's so much happening now that we're coming out of the hybrid situation. A lot of stuff is still hybrid. There's still some stuff that's virtual, but we are, the pedal is on the floor of the car in terms of live events, producing them, attending them, making them happen, and the hybrid piece, technology. I was a history major. I'm not a technology person. So when technology in a hybrid event like goes sideways, I
That's why
Google
you
it.
have me.
Basically, yeah. You are my personal IT guy, and so that's what happens in an event. I just call you, or I Google. It's it is what it is. But yeah, we produce events, we sell sponsorships to events, we produce the podcast, and I'm also the boots on the ground correspondent. Even though I know that you hate that title, you think it's
I do
not.
hate that. It's not that I hate that you have the title or that you're on the show. It's I hate that specific term, like boots on the ground, because I think when we came up with that, we were imagining somebody out at like the
Right.
mall interviewing people, like actual boots on the ground. And then
Sure.
COVID happened, and we had to P word, and and so Kate's segment became something different from what it was originally envisioned as, but the name stayed, and I always hated that. I was like, we should call it something else.
I mean, I'm open to renaming it. If you can come up with something
Yeah,
else, I'm open to it.
I will. But
Can't
yeah,
wait.
getting back to the events, it was
Yeah.
really fun. During I don't want to say fun. Fun is probably the wrong word, but
Yeah.
I talking about like things changing for our jobs during the pandemic. I got pulled into events a lot more during the
Yeah.
pandemic
You
because what I
did.
do for BIA is a lot of video stuff. And when the events became virtual, I had a much increased, I mean, I had almost no role with events prior to the pandemic. And then I was producing the video portion of all of our events during.
Mhm.
It was a lot of fun working with Kate. We're kind of easing out of that now that, things are going all live again, but
Yeah.
it was fun while it lasted.
I will say that, pre-pandemic, you produced the lion's share of the webinars that we did. And webinars were like
Yeah.
this much of what we did, maybe 10%. And suddenly everything was virtual. And so you were
Yeah.
producing one event after another as a
Yeah.
webinar. And it was, and because of the pandemic, because we felt the responsibility to get as much information out to the general public and businesses as possible that would help them survive the pandemic. We suddenly were hosting webinars with NJEDA for 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And you were just single-handedly
Multiple times a day.
multiple times a day, like 3 webinars a day,
What
thousands
was
of people.
interesting about that was like prior, you say like, it was such a small thing prior. Um, the webinar program at BIA has been all over the board. At times it's been really popular and we've done it a lot, and at times it hasn't been that popular and we didn't really do it that much. But there was a time where we were doing one a week, and then I would say prior to the pandemic we kind of eased into maybe like one a month. And so I went from one a month to maybe like two or three a day, like that.
For weeks, two or three
Yeah.
a day for weeks, while
Months.
months,
Yeah, it
yeah,
went on for a while. Yeah.
while
The
you were at the
pandemic was
same
crazy.
right, while you were at the same time ramping up to start the TV show, because the TV show
Yeah.
launched officially September of 2020. Like you lost
Yes.
6 months or so, right? Because of yeah. So while you're producing multiple webinars for thousands of people for
Yeah.
months, you're also ramping up to launch
And
the
we were
TV
still
show.
doing we used to have, I don't know, we still do the New Good Neighbor Awards, but we were doing the New
Oh
Good
yeah.
Neighbor Awards at the time. And that was crazy because we were convinced, and I say we, I mean the company was convinced that COVID was just going to be like a couple weeks and then we were going to be back. So there wasn't any kind of like, let's put New Good Neighbor on hold. So I was going out filming all the companies and then doing the webinars and, like ramping up for the TV show. It was a fun time, that whole COVID-19. I say that like it's ended. I know it's still going on. People get really upset when you say that it's over, but
Yeah.
that portion of it, that we're all home losing our minds every day, is at least over. So
It's
yeah.
funny how it was exactly 2 years. I remember the 2-year mark, March of 2022. It really was like, okay, things are kind of sort of back to normal. The majority of people that I know in my life are vaxxed and boosted. I'm having dinners out. I'm going to networking events. Nobody's
Yeah.
nobody's freaked out. Nobody's like forcing you to wear a mask or pressuring. Like, and I'm not an anti-masker. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to do the best thing for anybody in the room. But the pressure just seemed to be lessened a little bit. And to your point, that 2-year period is certainly memorable. Certainly going to
Yeah.
be memorable.
It's going to define our lives, at least for the
Yeah.
remainder of our lives. I think about younger people, like, I don't want to say my daughter's generation because she's 4, she's a little too young. But let's say you were like in that 10 years old to 18-year-old range. That's going to be the defining thing. They're going to name the generation after that. Like Gen Z is not going to stick. I promise it'll be Gen COVID by the time it's done.
That is such an interesting idea. Yeah, you're probably
Yeah.
totally right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we should talk to people about how they can get involved and stuff like this. So
Well, the NJBIA.org is a great place to start. You can get the full events calendar there. In fact, if you do NJBIA.org/events, you can get the full events calendar. The partnership brochure is there to download, and NJBIA.org is also where you can find all of the back episodes of Minding Your Business, along with the back episodes of other people's business, for that matter.
yeah.
I will never not think of us as TGI Friday now. I can't. It's
TGI Wednesday.
TGI.
Well, yeah, they air on different days. This is a podcast, so you can really check this show out whenever you want. Minding Your Business, our television show, airs on News 12 Plus every Saturday morning and Saturday evening. And Sunday morning as well. It's weird. I can't say Saturdays and Sundays at X time because there's like this random time on Saturday that's not on Sunday. But Saturday and Sunday at 9:30 a.m. and then Sunday at 7:30 p.m. You can check that show out.
Yep.
This podcast, if you wanted to watch it on Saturday, have yourself a whole NJBIA TGIS kind of a evening. By all means, check it out then. We're not going to judge. You watch this show whenever you want. We're going to be totally happy.
We were thrilled, actually. Legit.
But yeah, if you want to be a guest on this show, that show, if you want to attend an event or sponsor one, get yourself out there. BIA has a variety of different ways that you can do that, whatever works best for you. This show is more of like a humorous look at you, the individual. Kate has a whole thing she likes to say. I'm going to let her do it now.
People do business with people they know, like, and trust. This is the knowing and liking part.
Yes. So, you get to know somebody, you get to like them, maybe you get to trust them a little bit, and, you send them some business or you check them out. The TV show is more about the company itself, a lot more straight-faced, but, still great. We love it. And then, the events. Kate, talk about like some of the visibility options you have there.
So I would just say that our biggest event of the year is coming up September 28th and 29th. It is the New Jersey Women Business Leaders Forum. The last time we did this in person, we had like 600 people in the room. It is the largest professional women's development conference in the state of New Jersey. And this year, we are going to have 10 different panels. We're going to have 5 TED Talkers. We're going to have coaches. It's going to be amazing. We've got awards, a champagne toast. And after 2 years of being virtual, we're coming back strong. We're going to be at Caesars Atlantic City for the 2-day conference. It's just going to be amazing. I'm so excited. Yeah. And before then, we've got just a ton of really awesome either professional development in the HR space, networking, both virtual and in person. We've got policy stuff coming up, all kinds, just anything that you could possibly want for any business size, we've got it.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sounds good. And welcome back. And now we're going to throw back to the old game, Awful or Awesome, which today is brought to us
Can I just take a
by,
time out and
yeah,
talk about the sponsor in a minute, but it's funny to me that this is a throwback. Like it's been like 8, 9 episodes since we've done that. And in real world time, that's 18 to 20 weeks, which I guess is a long time ago, but yeah, crazy. Anyway, Awful or Awesome is brought to us by
Oxygen Benefit Solutions. And I just want to say, it is still my favorite game. It just got to be such a labor of love, and the labor was harder than the love. And so,
it's difficult to pick 2 or 3 things every other
yeah,
week to talk
and
about that we're allowed to talk about on this show. You know?
seriously,
Yeah.
that we're allowed to talk about, that's relevant, that other people are going to find interesting.
That's the
Um,
other part of it, because
we
Kate and
hope
I could probably talk about certain things for hours, and our guests would be like, I don't know.
that is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct. All right. So today we've only got two. We don't have three because we don't have all the time in the world to think of a third one. We just we thought of two.
18
And
weeks, you know.
and the first one is Shark Week. And
Have you
so
ever
Vin,
watched Shark Week?
I have never watched Shark Week, but sharks are why I don't swim in the ocean. I have a great respect for sharks,
I
and I
I have heard that sharks are actually not as aggressive as Jaws and Deep Blue Sea would have you believe.
really.
Yeah, I've heard that if you're not, actively, and I mean I'm sure that I'm wrong, and sharks are vicious killing machines, but no, I've heard that unless you're actively provoking, or maybe if you're, I don't know, wrong
No,
place, wrong time.
I don't believe that at all, and I'll tell you why. I asked a friend once who had just gotten back from vacation at a resort in some Caribbean island, how it was, and they were like, it was really good, but the first day we were there, we saw them doing the chum, and I didn't want to go in the water after that. And I was like, what do you mean doing the chum? So the resort people get on a boat every morning and they take chum out into the ocean and they dump it so that the sharks will have a feeding frenzy then and then not be hungry later to attack and eat the tourists. And at that point, I was like, I'm out. I don't ever need to do that. Not ever
I
gonna
mean,
do
I would suggest that if you see a shark in the water, or if you are aware that there's a shark in the water, get out. Like, you don't need to take this conversation as a thing to be like, oh, Vinny says that they're not that dangerous. Like obviously you don't want to go poking the bear, but I've heard that they're not that. I mean, I don't want to say dangerous. I've heard that they're not that aggressive. That we've made it out to be a lot worse than it is, but who knows? I
Didn't
mean,
you?
Shark Week specifically, I have never watched Shark Week. What I have on my queue is the Jackass spin-off from Shark. I don't know if it's a spin-off. It was a program they did during Shark Week, and
Their special
I,
episode.
yeah, it was like a series that they did with them. They brought them in. It was during the pandemic. I don't remember when exactly. Could have been 2020, could have been 2021. Might have been pretty recently, because I know they just came out with their new movie. They were probably trying to promote that in some way. But anyway, I'm a little late to the game is what I'm trying to say here. So this is super old news to a lot of people, but they
I
were
didn't
on
know.
there, and I remember Steve-O was talking about how Shark Week has gone on for however long it's gone on, like 10, 20 years. I have no idea how long Shark Week
Yeah.
has been a thing. However long Shark Week has been a thing, no one has gotten bit. The Jackass guys come in there, and within 30 minutes, they said like somebody got bit. So I do want to check that out, because I've always been a fan of their work. That it's a guilty pleasure kind of thing that you can just throw on when you're not in the mood for anything particularly deep. So
I love how you say I've always been a fan of their work, as if
their
it's
work,
Vincent Van Gogh or
their
something.
body of work.
Their body of work, right? Exactly.
You know what should survive all of us? Like when the aliens come 10,000 years from now and we have to give them stuff that's like, here's what we did on this earth. There was a thing during, I want to say it was like the first or second season of Jackass. They had Brad Pitt on the show, and they decided, and they cleared with the police first, just so that this wouldn't create like real life problems. But they had Brad Pitt out on the street signing autographs, and then they came up in a padded van with like jumpsuits on and everything, and pretended to kidnap him. So like the fans were freaking out. Like, they just like grabbed him and threw him in this van, and he's like kicking and trying to get out of it. I thought that was the funniest thing. They had me from then on. Like, I was like, that is one of the funniest things we as humans have ever produced. So
That's amazing. And I guess
yeah.
Jackass did give us Dax Shepard, right? So
Did it? I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure he got his start on Jackass.
I'm gonna have to look that up. It's been so long since I've watched the show, like I don't rewatch it. It's one of those things like it was a show 20 years ago, and every so often since then they've done movies. I did see the new movie that came out like a couple weeks ago. I would recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah,
It's a nice addition to their body of work.
it is. I want to call it a finale because I know Johnny Knoxville has said that he is no longer going to contribute to Jackass following this. So they might go on without him. Who knows? But yeah.
Johnny Knoxville has finally drawn the line.
You know what? You can only get kicked in the head by a bull so many times before you just say like, all right, I'm getting too old for this.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I
How
don't
about
even
you,
think-
Shark Week?
I'm gonna have to say awesome. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. I don't want to be part of it. But if
You
it,
want to be part of it, like you don't want to get in the water. Yeah.
I don't ever want to be invited on that show. Not that there's any danger of that. I just want to just say, don't invite me to be on that show. I'm not doing
Sure.
that.
Sure.
But
I mean,
I have
I think like putting aside the Jackass spin-off of Shark
sure.
Week, I think whatever they do is largely very safe. Like it's just, educational programming surrounding
Right.
sharks. I think even when they get in the water, they get in those indestructible cages. And I
That's
wouldn't
true.
mind doing that.
It's a Discovery Channel
Yeah.
show, right?
Yeah. I mean, that used to hold a lot more educational weight than I think it probably does now. Because now they're doing Jackass during Shark Week. But,
Oh my
I
God.
think it's very educational and you wouldn't have to worry about it if you were invited. I would get in the cage. That's all I'm saying.
I would not. You would get into the cage and submerge
Yeah.
yourself underwater in the
Yeah.
cold, dark ocean.
Okay, well, now that you mentioned the cold, I mean, the shark I'm not too worried about. Like the sub-zero cold, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about the shark. Like
What
I
if
said, I've
something
heard they're not that aggressive. The cages are pretty indestructible. And unless you're provoking them. One thing I've actually always felt bad about on this show, we once talked about sharks, and I relayed some advice to people where I said, if you are ever attacked by a shark, I've heard that you punch it in the nose
Yeah.
and it will go away. And I've always felt bad about that because I read about it afterwards and they said that, yes, that is theoretically true. It would work. However, in order to punch a shark in the nose, you have to be close enough to its mouth in order to do that. And that is really dangerous. So just try not to do that at all. So I've always felt bad that I threw that advice out there. So this is me taking
Yeah.
the opportunity to fix that and tell you, just so
Also,
you know, to like punching sharks in the face.
okay, not to go off on a tangent here, but I stand by I remember when you said that and I remember my response. If you're in the water, the velocity that you will have with your fist,
Yeah.
you can't punch anybody in the water. Have you ever
Yeah.
tried? I have. It doesn't work. It's horrible. So no. Just
Allegedly, it would work. It's just that it would it could theoretically bite your hand off while you're trying to punch it. So that's something to avoid.
yeah, that's a con. That's
What else do
definitely
we have on off?
All right, the next one is vanity license plates.
I don't actually have one. I found
Either.
some of them really funny over the years. I take pictures of some of my favorite ones, send them to the wife. Like, oh, look who did this. But I've
Yeah.
never been particularly, compelled to get one myself. I feel like whatever I would come up with would be like either super corny or already taken. So I don't know.
Yeah. So here's my feeling on that. I think that they're awesome when done well. And so rarely are they done well that the genre is mostly awful.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, I think I agree. I really haven't seen that. Like over the years, I've probably seen like 5 that have made me double over laughing. And that's 5 out of what, a million license plates I've probably seen in my life. So
Yeah.
uh,
And now that I'm driving a lot more, I see them all the time. And I'm just like, what were you thinking? Really?
yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not permanent. You could always undo it, I guess, but you got to pay money, you know?
Well, that's the other thing. Like, it costs extra. Who's just got all that extra money lying around to like pimp
I
out
think it's
your
like
Toyota
$50.
Corolla? All right, that's fine, but still, like, I don't know. It just seems like a waste of money to me for a bad
Mhm.
idea.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So that was Awful or Awesome, which is brought to us by.
Oxygen Benefit Solutions.
Thank you so much to you guys for letting us play this game and do this podcast, along with
Yeah,
NJM Insurance Group.
we totally appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess if we had a guest, if there was a third box, you know, somewhere in the three boxes or the two boxes we have going on here right now, we'd be asking them how they could get a hold of, or we could get a hold of them, or the
Yeah.
audience could get a hold of them, you know? So
How
how
can
do people
anyone
get a
get a
hold of
hold
you?
So the email address that I use is my first initial, my last name at njbia.org. So that's kconroy at njbia.org. You can also find partnership information, sponsorship info at njbia.org. And if you think you'd like to be a guest on the show, definitely let us know. You can email me directly, or you can email us at opb, as in other people's business, at njbia.org.
I
What
think they
about you?
cracked that code, to be
You
honest.
think so? You think
Yeah. OPB, what could that possibly mean? No,
so?
yeah. If you want to be, Kate stole one of the things I was going to say. I was going to say if you wanted to be
Sorry.
a guest on this show, but if you want to inquire about being a guest on Minding Your Business, our television show on News 12 Plus and on YouTube along with this show, you can check out njbia.org/myb, as in Minding Your Business, you know, because I just gave you guff for doing that, and here I am right now. So
I
yeah,
love it.
check that out. You can go check that out. If you want to get a hold of me specifically, vcivitillo at njbia.org. And I usually write my name at the bottom of the box anyway, so I don't have to spell that out. But yeah.
Nah, you'll be fine.
This was fun.
This was
Yeah.
really fun. Yeah, we should do
We
this
should
more
stop
often.
having guests all together.
That'd be cool. We
Yeah.
should just, yeah, right? We should just have our own show.
Yeah.
Maybe
The
someday.
spinoff. It'd be like the
I
Shark
love
Week
it.
of NJBIA.
I love it. Oh my God. All right. Well, that is the show. Thanks to our listeners, especially the subscribers. We so appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp. So check them out if you need some updated coverage. And that's it for us. Thanks so much for hanging with us today. We'll see you next time. Bye.